intro this time.
All right. Welcome back to the Big Sleep Podcast for episode 2, airing November 19, 2024. It's Ernesto.
And Nick.
With your boy Nick.
It's your boy.
Obviously, he has moved up in life a little bit. Told him to get a better mic set up, and what did he do?
Set up my mic.
Yeah, he did that, and he also went and just bought a whole new PC while he was at it. So,
yeah, that's what you're getting at. Yeah, swipe the card.
Yeah. So, cool. Episode 2 already.
Already, man.
Yeah,
I think the first one went good.
yeah.
I've watched it a couple times.
We got some feedback from some people who viewed it. They were positive. Most of them were, Nick needs a better mic.
Yeah. I got feedback from both people that viewed it.
Yeah. Hey, it's early. Not a bad start. I guess updates on it. We are now on, what did I say? Spotify and Amazon Music. And then we should be, hopefully I can get it figured out by the end of the week, getting onto Apple Podcast or whatever they've got, Apple Music. I need a Mac to set that up apparently, or they're not letting me create an account. I tried creating an account like 5 times and it just keeps saying we can't do it right now, try again later, with no explanation.
Get like an iPhone 4 off of Marketplace. And
I have an iPhone SE from work that's still in my drawer, but the old lady has a MacBook for work, so maybe I'll just try hopping on there, I guess. I don't know. I tried just doing it through the website and it wasn't working, so yeah. Here we are back at it. Thanks for checking us out. I think we got some stuff on the agenda today, and maybe just go off the deep end with some of these conversations, so that should be interesting. We did get a suggestion to pregame, but I think that might be a little too sketchy. I know Nick very well. He knows me very well. And if you mix in alcohol usage prior or during a podcast, it might get a little wild really quick. And I feel that.
I feel like more than anything, we would just end up scrapping it. Like when we went to rewatch it, we'd be like, "Mother of God!"
I mean, it would either be completely hilarious and just nonsensical, or just like we can't give this to the people. It's not what they want.
I know I got a problem whenever I bought candy for work today to like set in like a candy bowl, and then I also bought Fireball, and I thought that was okay to bring Fireball to work.
Yeah. Well, I forgot that I had gotten all of that alcohol from my birthday, and I was walking through my dining room, and it's still in the box, like 4 or 5, containers of it, and I'm like, yeah, probably not. So I just grabbed a soda.
I've got an alibi on this intro, so I think the last intro was the mic, which was obviously my fault, but this one is a good one. I wanted to give you the shout out for setting up all the accounts. Heavens knows, I'd jack that all up. So, and then having them all poured over it at the same time, that's pretty cool.
Well, I went into it kind of with a naivety. Like, I understood RSS feeds and copying that URL and then things getting sent down the chain. I didn't realize, I guess I didn't account for, you have to have an account with each one of those before you connect them. And yeah, that was wild. Also, I should mention the first email that I gave you, I left out a letter in it. So that's why I had to scrap literally everything and start over and use the correct email. So I had to remake YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff, because I used Google to sign in. So that's what took so long. But now everything's up. It was pretty much Podast. Like, so yeah, and I didn't realize it either until I was trying to set up Spotify or something like that, and it keeps saying, or it kept trying to send me the code in the email, like 2-factor,
Yeah.
and I wasn't getting the email. So I was like, "What's going on here?" I checked Firewall to see why I wasn't getting the email, and then finally I saw it, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And then I went over and I saw that I spelled it wrong, and I was like, "Well,
Did you change like the email, or did you have to remake a new one?
you can't change an email. Yeah, you have to remake a
Yeah.
whole new one." So I had to reapply all of the photo, all of the cover art, and our handle. Luckily, it worked out because I used a different handle first time, and now it's the Big Sleep Podcast. So it actually
There you go.
it was an excuse to correct it. So
I like the
it,
like the is
the
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's gonna be
The
huge. Cool. So yeah, let's. Um, anything else from the last or any updates
from the last what?
from the last episode? Is there anything that we need to like circle around to, or did you
I don't
hear
remember.
anything?
I don't remember anything that we said we would follow up on or that we would hit on for the second one. And honestly, like yeah, you hit on all the feedback. Um, so I think we're good to let the sun set on that one and move on to a new agenda.
Yeah. Well, start us off. Let's do it.
All right, man. Um, if anyone did watch the last podcast, they would know that we're both into music. We talked a little bit about music, and we kind of experimented about like seeing what it was like to maybe watch a music video, see if we could start doing music videos in this and talk about them. But ultimately, we're settling on just like talking about like our big three, maybe each week, just to see what we're listening to. So I do need to pull out my Spotify. Um, but the question I have listed here is like what made you get into music? Like what was like your first experience that, like your euphoria that was like, man, like music. Because some people are just like, it is what it is, right? But
Yeah. Gosh, trying to think that far back. Um,
yeah,
I guess for me, some of the earliest like memories I have of music would have been honestly uh probably my grandfather.
yeah,
He used to play guitar for us when we were little. I have one sister, and yeah, we would go over to his house. He'd pick us up from school. You know, I had a single mom, so I was more at my grandparents' house than I was at my house, I guess. And yeah, he'd play guitar for us. He actually used to record music in his basement, and he would make CDs, and he would hand out those CDs for Christmas to like all the family members. And it was,
that's dope.
oh, it was hilarious at the time because it was just like, oh, we're getting another CD from Grandpa or whatever. You know, no one really did anything with it, and I'm
Yeah,
glad I actually kept one of them and downloaded it onto my computer, so I at least have it now. But yeah, he'd do Christmas
yeah.
music. He had one. I can remember my sister. She was very little, and they recorded one, and she was like the background singer. Like
Okay.
he'd say a line, and then she would like say the last two lines. You know. So yeah, I mean that'd be a big, I guess, music thing. Uh, Probably one of my earliest memories. And then, God, I don't know how embarrassing I should get. I have a funny story.
I have no boundaries, so
Okay. Oh God. Well, I guess we're going strong. So, when I was younger, I remember when the Britney Spears CD came out. You
Oh
ready for
yeah,
this? Yeah. So,
yeah,
my sister had one of those like pink boombox CD players that
yeah.
you see them around every once in a while at like a thrift store or something. Like, oh, I my sister had that. There's a video out there of me somewhere in my family of me receiving that CD on a holiday, and I lost my shit.
Okay.
Like literally, I was like jumping up and down,
Yeah.
like thank you, thank you, thank you. And I ran into
Oh
my
my
sister's
god.
room on her pink boombox, and I laid on the floor and
Just
just
jammed.
cranked the volume on that thing to Britney Spears, man. And it was wild. I don't even know why. Like, obviously, it was some type of external source that made me want to think that that was like the in music or something. Like that wasn't a natural thought. That's what I'm saying.
It wasn't bad. Like for the
Oh, I'm not.
time.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
bad. It's just like I
Okay.
definitely didn't come up with that idea by myself.
Yeah, yeah,
That I needed to
yeah,
ask for that. And then yeah, everything after that was like going through the LimeWire Kazaa era, bricking every family
yeah.
computer that we ever owned. Uh, I made the mistake of downloading. I typed in. Figured out what the word discography meant. So I typed
Okay.
in uh, what was it? Metallica
Yeah,
discography. Hit download, and I mean at the time you have to think. Remember what computers were like?
yeah, yeah,
You hit download on something like that, and it was like 300 gigs, and
yeah,
that was it. Your computer's toast. You can't even.
yeah.
So yeah, I had the entire discography of Metallica, which is insane if you haven't looked up at how much random side music they've done and
Oh,
stuff
really?
like that. And then yeah, and then it was like Bring Me the Horizon, and
I'll have
my
to talk
life.
about Metallica later.
Yeah, my life was over after like Bring Me the Horizon. So
Dude, I'm surprised. Like, good. How funny is it? Ironic, to download Metallica of all people. After like the whole Napster thing, and like
yeah,
that's funny.
so yeah, that's what I would say.
Brittany, do you remember? It was called Hit Clips Mini Clips. They were like it would like dangle on your backpack, and they were like this big,
A little
and
chip.
yeah, and it would play like 30 seconds of your favorite song.
Yeah.
Hit Clips, like you press on it, and it would like at least when I think of Britney, that's what I think of is like junior high, and like someone had a mini clip on their backpack, and like
Hell
you're
yeah.
listening. It only had one headphone. I do remember that too, or that, or maybe like all headphones were trash and like we broke them, but I just
Yeah.
remember a one headphone thing.
Yeah, that I remember those little tiny chips that you'd throw in there.
Yeah,
And we had like
like an
one
SD card.
we had Aaron Carter as
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
I remember
Yep.
that. And I think Backstreet Boys was another one. Just like 30-second
Yeah.
clip.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I had
iPod
like the
Nano.
blue album was the only one I had. I just pressing like the blue album like on repeat.
Because it came with one, right? That was the idea.
Yeah.
Or
That's probably the
maybe it
one I
came
was
with
allowed to have.
two. Yeah. But I remember the Aaron Carter one. I don't remember what song. What was Aaron Carter's big song?
I can't name one.
I remember it though.
Are you allowed to pull up a picture of Hit Clips? Is that trademark?
No, I'm sure you can bring that. That's got to be common use by now. I don't remember if it was like, oh, was it I Want Candy? That was a big one, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
want candy.
But that was a like that was an original content, right? Like that was from like an 80s song.
Maybe. He did the Jimmy Neutron movie
I could see that.
soundtrack.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it was a pretty hit movie. It was a good movie with the giant chicken alien thing.
Yeah, we have it actually. I was going to put it on yesterday to watch with the kiddo, and we ended up watching something else. I can't remember what it was. Oh, we finished watching Despicable Me 4.
There you
Cool, continue. Let's hear it.
go. What made me get into music? So my most like one of my most memorable moments. I've got two, but the first one I lived in like Minot, North Dakota, and
That's a
when
weird
it
place.
snows there, there's like nothing to do. So I just remember like yeah, we're essentially like, buried into the basement, and my dad had like 2 infinity speakers, and, like, at the time, like, you had to have, like, a speaker that was, like, this big to get, like, any sound out of it, to, like,
Yeah.
really jam. So, I mean, these things were monsters, and, he put in, White Zombie, like, More Human Than Human. He was like, "Sit down, you little piece of shit, and listen to this,
I'm
like, I'm gonna show you a real
gonna
a
hit you
real
after this.
album."
Yeah.
Right? Like, so yeah, he put that on and I think that's what maybe that's what stepped me off into metal too, but yeah, More Human Than Humans what did it. I like years later I ended up seeing Rob Zombie live and that was
That'd
a
be
good time.
awesome. I've heard amazing things about live Rob Zombie, so
Yeah. Um and then the second one, I went to an AFES and I bought AFI, Sings Songs of Sorrow. I can't remember the name of the album now,
yes.
but it was an explicit album, and like I remember the dude like he like looked at it and he's like, and like looks at me and he's like, "Noot," like scans it. I hit him
It's
my
time to ruin
money.
your life.
Yeah, I'm walking out of there. Uh, but that album had like I don't know, like 4 to 6 different album covers. So, like, me and my group of friends were, like we all had, like, different album covers, and it was, like, a unique experience. But, yeah, we all loved that album, it was good.
I guess like the connection to rock that I should say what got me into heavier stuff, I can only imagine, would be when I was younger. I also have a stepsister, and she was, I don't know, she's at least 5 years older than me, but she was the one who got me into like the Kazaa era stuff. And I remember she had like Bowling for Soup,
Oh, yeah.
uh, Green Day. So like went huge on Green Day for a long time, and then my
Blink-182,
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
all of
Yeah.
those, and that was kind of the normal. That was the in like music for that time anyway. Was kind of that punky, resist music, and I think people either grabbed onto that and stuck with it, and then that elevated into whatever their music interests are now, or they
Yeah.
bounced off into the pop. Because I mean, you have both genres there. The beginning of pop and modern, metal stuff. You could say metal stuff could have started early as like Megadeth, Metallica, Led Zeppelin, that type of stuff. But the merge of that was early 2000s, where it was kind of like pop and punk together, and then
Yeah.
everyone kind of split one way or the other. So, but that was probably my connection to it. And then obviously, you listen to like a couple heavy songs and you're like, okay, yeah, I could do this.
Remember when System of a Down's Chop Suey dropped?
Dude. Yes.
Like
I had that on CD.
like, on repeat, man, like, "Wake up," and it, like, just playing that
Like,
part of
I'm
the
going to
song over
slap
and over.
someone.
Yeah. I was angry, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's such a good
you definitely had to have like that spicy side, that
yeah,
crippling depression. I hate the world.
something.
It gets you hooked.
And, what was the Slipknot? Was it before? I forget now. It was Duality. That would have been,
Yeah.
like, 2004, right? 2002, 2000 to 2004.
Yeah. Let's see.
He's, like,
Yeah.
whacking
May
like, the
May
drum with
4th,
a
2004.
there you
Yeah,
go.
that and honestly, like there were a couple popular Slipknot. So that was also kind of before my move into heavier stuff, but I can see why that would be one of those. I just wasn't really introduced to that yet.
Yeah. I went to an alternative school, and that's where, like, like, the creepy dude in the bus is like, "Hey, man, you should listen to this." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And, yeah, that was my first time listening to
Just give
Slipknot.
me a nod next time you come to school,
You're right.
and I shouldn't be
Yeah.
walking in.
I
You
brought you
go to
your
open the door, and
daily
he's like,
Snickers.
"Not
Not
today.
today. Like, and I'm like,
I'll take a cab home." You know who to go after first.
right. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, when did or how did metal like transition into like modern metal, like emo, screamo, um, stuff like that for you,
I think it's kind of
or new metal?
cyclic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if you remember during that time, a lot of it was kind of that like punky, um, emotional stuff or whatever. Like, I love a girl, but she broke my heart, that type of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And that was probably the more popular genre at the time. And then there was kind of these offshoot ones that went a little heavier. And then again, it's kind of like that mixing pot where they took that emo punky music and added, I can't remember if it was in order or not, but you remember, like, now they call it like Southern yelling. Like, that was
yeah, yeah,
popular
yeah,
for a span of time. Well, that's
yeah.
kind of the transition that they went through in that initial stage too. Was like
Mm.
kind of this angsty Southern yell, and then that kind of transitioned you into the heavier stuff, and then vice versa. You're starting to see, Bring Me the Horizon's a prime example. He fried his throat, and now he's starting to do more of that raspy,
Yeah.
Southern yell or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I would say, that was a big part of it. You like to make fun of me for like A Day to Remember. That was huge.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, it was big for a lot of people.
yeah, like when I listened to, their first couple albums, and I was like, this is kind of that post hardcore, you get a little bit of both in the mix, and that was easy peasy for me.
I think for me, like, I mean, AFI was already kind of like emo before emo.
Close my
Like,
eyes and put me to sleep.
but so that was later. That was like '08,
Yeah.
no, like '07. But for me, like a lot of my music introduction, um, Tony Hawk Pro Skater,
Mm.
like I can't name a Tony Hawk Pro Skater album that didn't absolutely bang.
Slap.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
I didn't even think of video games. Video games was
yeah.
a huge music thing.
Oh, absolutely, like Need for Speed Underground,
Yeah. How
or
about
Underground 2,
Twisted Metal?
Yeah,
The
yep,
car game where you would like smash into each other and shoot each
yeah.
other. That had a
It
soundtrack.
and honestly, even if it didn't have a soundtrack, like, you ever have, like, games that are so nostalgic that, like Ocarina of Time or something like that? Like, for me, like, the Metroid Prime, like,
Yes.
I could listen to that intro, you know,
Dude, I could
just
open some
vibe.
water temples, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. There was a lot of games with excellent soundtrack. I mean, Guitar Hero was a thing during that time too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
later stages, and they
Mhm.
were doing some stuff. Um, yeah, like, and obviously a lot of it's like friends too. Uh, if you were around people that had, the ear for music, then if you would hang out with them, you'd start listening to their type of music. And
Mhm.
ours was definitely more of that, like, like I said, like Green Day was the earlier stuff. But like Red Jumpsuit, uh, Hawthorne Heights was a big one for my friend group.
It's,
Yeah, so it was just, I feel like there's a path there, and like I said, I just kind of got hooked on that one.
although I consider, like, AFI to be my first, like, emo album, and that was, like, in junior high. Like, I remember my first, like, yeah, I had a pair of like Trip pants, you know, like it was like Hot Topic and all that stuff is kind of like coming into the scene. Um, but that was like for goth kids, right? Like, and so
Yeah.
I had like relatively fitting like Trip pants because like there was no way my parents were gonna let me have like giant bell bottoms with the chains and all that stuff,
Jinko.
right? Yeah. Um, yeah, I maybe had like some Jinko that had like the chain with the wallet, like the single chain, but yeah, it
You're just
wasn't gonna look
dabbling
like
in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was not about to sound like a jewelry store. Um, but I think like the very first like emo uh album or emo song I ever heard was from First to Last, like Note to Self. Like in the with the video and it's like glitching
This is
and he
what we
like
call a
does the
tragedy. Yeah. I
yeah.
totally forgot the biggest one for me, and it's hilarious that I forgot it. Ding, ding, ding. My Chemical
What?
Romance, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Dude,
yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's probably
When
that's
I
the one that
was
I got hooked on the most and would just sob my fucking eyes out.
yeah.
So on my iPod Nano, I used to listen to the first like 20 seconds of the guitar riff of the opening to Thank You for the Venom
Mhm.
and just sit there and repeat it over and
Yeah,
over again. Yeah. That God, they had some. And if you want to talk about like emotional damage, that was the
yeah,
band. I mean, yeah, their music was crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, that one's huge. And I didn't even
Seosin.
think.
I think
Yep,
I did a
Sayasin.
lot of Seosin. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like back like their early stuff was like raw and like it
Yeah.
was good. Like even like when it was remastered, it was like it was one of those things where it was remastered, but like it's okay. But like the original raw content was like better, more powerful.
You know who had super raw content that sounded like ass, but I wouldn't
Hmm.
like now if I hear it, I it just clicks in my head like this isn't them.
Yeah.
Emure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Their first stuff was like, "Hey, we got this potato with a
Hmm.
1/4 inch jack on it. Just plug your
Yeah.
guitar into that and let's see what happens."
Right. Yeah. All I have left is this old bean can.
Yeah.
Like,
You stand way over there
yeah.
and we'll just upload this on
Yeah.
dial up.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. In MySpace, it'd probably be MySpace, like where you can like attach the song to your profile.
Oh, yeah. You could completely modify your MySpace landing page to,
Yeah,
like where there's no buttons. It's just like
yeah,
your photo, a
hmm
background, and then music that you can't turn off.
yeah, yeah. That was my favorite part. Like, welcome to my page. This
Dick
like,
bags. You got to
like,
listen to this shit.
yeah. You
Did
think
you ever hop on the was Bebo after MySpace
I
or
don't know.
before?
Never
It
had.
was before.
I think it was a Zanga before MySpace.
Yeah, so it must have been Bebo, then MySpace, then Facebook. Because I had
Yeah,
a Bebo
that
and I
sounds right.
tried looking into the Internet Archives, and it just doesn't exist. So Bebo, you remember the big video that like got Bebo popular? Was I? This is gonna sound dumb, and I don't know if it was him or not, but he looks like Boogie 2988 or whatever. I don't think it's him though. Now that I think about it, so that's gonna be really shitty that I'm saying he looks like that. But it's the video, the landing page of Bebo was him doing that Maya,
Oh,
Maya,
jeez.
and it's that video, and now it's like the dawn of the internet. We're like, holy
Yeah,
crap, this guy uploaded a video, and that's what got me on there. You could put your other half, so that was the
what does that
thing.
mean? Like,
Like, just on your page, it'd be like you, and then below it'd be like your other half, and it'd be like whoever you were dating at that time, and a link to their
uh,
profile.
okay. Dude, that was big. Like for MySpace, like you thought you made it to my top six.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot about that now. Yeah,
They made they made us sort our friends, bro.
yeah.
Like
That's
people
why high school is what it is now. It's just ingrained
like
in us.
like imagine if I mean you had friends
Yeah, I can't.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Wonder what that feels like. Fuck MySpace.
Uh, but yeah, like sorting, like I vividly remember like people like you gonna add me to your top six. It's like, nah, bro. I got my mom.
Yeah.
Like, you
You didn't
know,
let me have your cookie from lunch the
right?
other day.
Yeah,
Stop wasting your time.
it's an analogy for something.
I wish that and you can go on Internet Archives and try to look up that stuff, but like there's so much stuff. If your shit was set to like private, they couldn't grab it, and
I think
'cause I'm
China owns
sure.
MySpace now.
Yeah, well, yeah, don't they own everything?
Yeah.
But I'm sure I have like photos on there and stuff that would be hilarious
Oh yeah.
to look at.
We could dissect that one day.
Mm-hmm.
Just start crying.
Yeah,
Be a lot of editing.
be like, I poured my heart out for that woman.
The fuck.
We were 13.
I should call her.
He's got a restraining order on me, so
My other kid.
yeah.
Oh, too funny. What do you think about Sleep Token? Like in
Sleep
new, like all this. Would you consider them new metal? I don't know. What do you think about like
Is
some of
that
this
the dude
newer
that
metal they've been putting out?
is that the band that's like and like
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
music? It's big on TikTok. I keep getting
it's
that in my
huge.
feed.
Yeah, I don't have
Um,
TikTok, but I've heard.
I have not listened to it. I've seen like Alex Terrible react to it
Yeah,
and other bands react to it, and they're like, you know, it's good. Like everyone's saying, oh, he's the best vocalist, and I'm like,
some of his
okay,
older stuff is different. You gotta listen to.
yeah, I'm sure it's great music, but
Yeah,
I haven't heard anyone just come out and be like, he's the best vocalist in history. I'm like, well, hold on. What
yeah.
does that mean? 2016? Oh, and they're anonymous. Oh,
You would have liked Slaughter to Prevail live. I went to go see
oh, I bet.
Manson. It was honestly it was some band I don't even know. And then
That was my band.
Manson and or sorry, it was Slaughter to Prevail. Some band I don't know, Slaughter to Prevail, Manson, and then Five Finger Death Punch. And Slaughter to
Did you go
Prevail
home
was
and beat your
amazing.
wife?
Just I beat something. Um, but Slaughter to Prevail was amazing. And then Manson was it was good. It was to be expected. And then I left for Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I've listened to him. I'm
They're
not
the
gonna sit here and shit on him, but
they're the
there's an
headliner, and
aura.
I was like, uh-uh.
Yeah, there's an aura.
Yeah.
Yeah, live
I don't drive a F-250.
or drink that much Monster.
Yeah.
No, I remember. It's funny you say from first to last. I saw them live.
Nice.
Um,
In Omaha?
yeah.
When was that?
So it was supposed to be. Let's see, who was all supposed to be there?
I think I saw them with Scary Kids Scaring Kids back in like
Yeah. No,
I don't
it's
even
like
know, like
Smosh was,
05.
or not Smosh. I Set My Friends on Fire was supposed to be there.
Okay.
Uh, what's the other band like Parkway Avenue or Parkway Drive
Yeah.
or a
I
Skylit
know probably
Drive?
both bands.
Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Yeah.
They were supposed to be playing with From First to Last, and none of them showed up except for like a park. Is it Parklit Drive?
A skylit runway.
Parkway Drive?
A mossy breezeway.
Anyway, I wasn't interested in seeing them because I didn't like
Yeah.
their music. And yeah, I just wanted to go there because I Set My Friends on Fire was going to be there and they're hilarious. And honestly, from first to last wasn't that big. And I can't remember. I went there with this girl, and I do
Skylar.
remember this. Is it a Skylit Drive?
Hmm.
Okay, Parkway Drive is different. Yeah, a Skylit Drive. That's got to be it. Yeah,
Parkway
that's
Drive.
100% it.
An Australian metalcore band.
Yeah, the dude's tiny, by the way. The lead singer.
For
Well,
Skylit.
so is Sonny Moore.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
first to last. But I vividly remember the bassist jumping on my friend, like full mushroom stamp. This dude's
Dang.
like 300 pounds at the time. I mean, not 300, but he was a big dude. And yeah,
What?
he just smoked her.
Oh.
Yeah,
Dang.
it was hilarious. And then Sonny Moore hopped out of the band like right after that.
To go do his like random
Skrillex.
acoustic.
Wow, wow, wow.
Well, he did like 2, 3 years of like weird acoustic stuff before he did that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Craig
yeah.
Mabbitt. Forgot about him.
Who else did I see? Um, I don't even know if they're a band anymore, but like, so we had this little area in my hometown that would do. My town was very much like into this stuff. Like, this is the bands that came because we're a small town or whatever, and it was all these local bands that uh kind of did covers, kind of did other music, and like These Hearts. It looks like they're still a band, or at least, oh, they disbanded in 2013. Well, there's that. They played. Um, who's that other guy that's big now? Or on the emo side. God, what's his name?
Ronnie Radke?
No, this is like ukulele, like love music. Never Shout Never.
Oh, yeah.
He
Okay.
came, like, we were like hanging out, and that dude, no, he was not big at all. He was just kind of like roaming town. I wonder where he's actually from now that I think about it. What did I just say his name was?
Never Shot Never. I didn't hear a name.
Yeah, Never Shout Never. I wonder where he's from. Joplin, Missouri. Okay, so he didn't go that far. Yeah, he like came to this youth group
JMO.
thing, and we just all played music, and he was one of them. He just like showed up and played music, wasn't wearing shoes.
There you go.
Uh it's weird thinking about. We never thought he would get anywhere. Who else used to go there? MC Gringo.
What?
Yeah. Do you know
So that's
that?
how we're getting canceled?
Do you know that guy?
No.
Where's he from?
I
He
remember
was
MC Chris from Adult Swim.
uh Saskatchewan. Yeah, he randomly show up too. These people are from. I thought that they would be like somewhat local, but they're not. MC Gringo. It was so crazy because I went shopping the other day, and somebody was wearing an MC Gringo shirt, and I was like, "Where the hell did you get that?" I mean, that guy was like
What
a
year
no
is
name.
it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so weird, but
Um, well, you've known me long enough to know that still left over from the MySpace era, I have Alicia on my playlist. And it always will be. Like they're my original like transition from like that emo to screamo.
yeah.
Uh,
God,
I
what was
was
one of
in.
their big songs?
I mean, that whole album is a banger for me. But
You remember Alisana?
Masochist, yeah, yeah,
Tilt in the
uh,
Hourglass?
I
Dun-dun.
think that
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
that's like where it started to transition though,
I
right?
think so.
Emo to like absolutely scream, like because like the lows in Alasana and the highs were
His
great.
weren't lows though. Like they were kind of that because
Yeah,
he was that like hairband, high pitched,
melodic. Yeah,
whiny. You know what I mean?
yeah. And what was the other band that was like that? It was the dude from Under Oath. I saw them too.
But Under Oath.
No, the drummer from Under Oath made a red jumpsuit. They're
Yeah.
uh
Are you talking like early Under Oath?
oh, early Under Oath was like
98 to
good.
2010.
Cries of the Past was like that doesn't even make sense. Like I challenge anyone that thinks they know Under Oath to go listen to Cries of the Past because it doesn't make any sense where they were at then and how they're where they're at now.
They're only chasing safety. 2004.
I Yeah, it got way softer then. And there's like the sun or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I
Yeah.
got to look it up too. The sun still sleeps. Either way. Red jumpsuit was pretty good. Alasana was pretty good.
The
Shameless
Used.
mention of asking Alexandria, the used.
Taking Back Sunday.
Oh yeah. Man, if you want to see me just like absolutely belt like a 13-year-old girl, I'd just be like, lipstick is calling.
Alexis
I
on
know
Fire.
exactly what goes on. Yeah,
All Time Low. Should we just cry?
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Of Mice and Men. Asking Alexandra was 2006. Pierce the
Yeah.
Veil. I wasn't a huge fan of Pierce the Veil.
I like Pierce the Veil. Like
Or
it's a very
no,
unique sound.
yeah, Black Veil Brides. I don't like them.
Emerosa.
I saw them live. I don't. Not a
Yeah.
fan.
Really? I
Yeah.
heard Lee, the vocalist, is a diddler.
Well, you should see
He
how they
got in trouble.
dress.
Yeah, I believe it. I like Emerosa, but
Oh, Lincoln Park.
Linkin Park. Oh
We didn't
yeah, dude.
talk about
Lincoln.
them.
That was like was it crawling? Was that
Yeah.
the original? Like the
1996. Mayday Parade.
keys? Oh man, yeah, I forgot about them.
Katie, don't cry. We still
Secondhand
listen to that.
Serenade. If we're
We
going
still
down like
we
to the
still listen to that
acoustic,
too.
but yeah,
The old lady, that's what she listens to, man. Is like Mayday
a lot of shit.
Parade.
Yeah,
I
they should.
had the CD for Secondhand Serenade. I remember that.
They were in town like 2 months ago or something. Like we should just sent the girls to go see it.
Dashboard Confessional.
Yeah,
Oh, she'd be down to do that. Oh, Radiohead. See, we're going a little back, but this is music that we were listening to.
yeah.
Radiohead. Uh, Paramore was huge. Paramore was Evanescence.
Oh man, like
Oh,
it
Lamb
was a
of
good
God.
song at the time, but like you gotta admit, like Evanescence and oh man, what was it? Diary of Jane. Like the radio just beat that into a pulp.
Yeah. I remember the music that was playing when we'd like drive to the water park. Like we lived like an hour and a half away from the closest water park. And I
Yeah.
just remember like all of the music that was playing on the way there.
And it would play again on the way back.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you'd hear it three
Yeah.
times in the trip.
Yeah.
Death Cab for a Cutie. Fallout Boy was making a name for themselves at the time. Corn.
Yeah. Corn.
So I
No
played
other
this.
bases left.
Do you remember the maybe you didn't do this, but there was like a random browser game or maybe it was a full download game. It was like MTV.
Okay.
Like it was like Second Life.
Hmm.
Like make a character, walk around in an open world. And I
Hmm.
remember Corn like did a live in the game.
What? Like Roblox?
Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, they've done a couple of those though, right? Like they did like a Roblox concert or something like last year.
I watched Corna play a concert in an MMO, and it was surprisingly great. I wish I could remember what it was.
Hmm.
Adventure Quest? That doesn't sound right.
It wouldn't have been me. Couldn't have been me.
When did Adventure Quest come out? Yeah, that ain't it. Release date for Adventure Quest 3D was 2016. This was way before that. I thought it was like an MTV MMO or something. Oh, here it is. There's people on Reddit that are like, uh, I can't find anything. I can't remember what it was called. It was like VMTV, and you'd play different music. And I remember a downtown club area with a beach. I remember this.
Hmm.
It must be VMTV. Oh, yeah, this is it. I found it.
Virtual MTV.
Yeah. Bro, imagine being too young to play this game. If you go to VMTV and just go to images, it's like brought up by, it's like, I don't know.
You
Hollister
put like a
Q.
dash in there.
Nope, just VMTV game. That's all I typed in, and then I went to images.
Oh, okay.
It's like the eighth image in.
Must be the game part that helps.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah, this is it.
Wow.
Time to lure some virtual girls back to the room.
Bro, the other way around.
Yeah.
It was just little old me in there, like, what? What? Can you take clothes off in this game? God. So yeah, that was
What they called in Sims. They like woo each other.
woohoo. The 2010s, Avenged Sevenfold, Bring Horizon, Volbeat,
Ugh, dude,
Three Weeks
I
Grace.
hate Volbeat. I
Yeah.
fucking hate Volbeat. They're so bad, man. I used to work with a person that like, and I probably could have gotten away with not hating Volbeat, but she would play Volbeat like on repeat. Like I mean, like 10 hours of Volbeat a day, man, for like months.
You said you've listened to Spirit Box, right?
I don't mind Spirit Box. I I don't know, like female screaming vocalists just doesn't do it for me. I like the like Sia. We both agree that Sia is like angelic, you know,
Yeah. Is that
God sent.
vocalist Courtney LaPlante? Is that not the girl from? Yeah. You do you remember that I listened or I wrestled a bear once?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her. Spirit Box.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know
Because
that.
I remember when Spirit Box was kind of getting big, I saw the name that
Yeah.
Courtney LaPlante or whatever, and I was
Mhm.
like, I'm pretty sure that that's the chick walking around with short hair doing this in like 90s
Yeah.
attire. Uh,
Whatever happened to I Set to Kill? Like those girls
I
or
don't
that
even know what
girl?
that is.
Ugh, I think the other one was a dude.
Yeah, their last video or their big video was 9 years ago. I wrestled a bear once. I just remember
I didn't know they were done.
what was it? Tastes like Kevin Bacon. Yeah, tastes like Kevin Bacon. What an odd time.
Yeah. Like some of those. Oh man, we didn't even talk about like that weird pop screamo thing that happened towards the end of MySpace, like
Don't say it.
303.
Don't say it.
Uh, Honestly, that's the only one I could think of off the top. Like
No. Broken Side.
Broken Side. Oh man, free.
Hey, that's when I learned to pig squeal.
Yeah,
Yep, that was it. I used to walk around school pig squealing. Oh my gosh, that was bad.
Scene Kids.
Maybe that
Uh,
was before or after school. I
what was
can't
the
remember.
other one? It was like I don't want to call it hip hop. That's an insult to hip hop. Hollywood Undead.
Yeah, I actually did listen to a lot of those guys.
Oh yeah, I mean they were good for the time. Do you find yourself able to listen to them now though?
Uh, I've not listened to them since that
Yeah,
time. Do they still make
I
music?
can't. I don't know. I mean, even I'm just saying, like, I go back to try to listen to their old stuff,
Everywhere I
and
go. There
uh,
was a couple of decent ones. I can't remember what the names of the songs were, but um, I do remember. I also remember they were going to be a previous. Yeah, they used to do masks, and then I think they got over that.
yeah,
I prevail.
I prevail. They're still good.
Yeah, I'm a
And they
fan
get
today,
cover. They got popular
dude.
from that
The T Swift
Swift cover,
cover,
right? Yeah,
it's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Has your playlist changed at all from last week?
Honestly, I haven't listened to that much music. Um, I did listen to that band that you sent me though.
The Aviana Rage?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I've been jamming to that every day on the way to work.
So
People are like, why are you so angry when you get to work?
I'm not gonna lie. So I played it, let it settle for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then uh, the old lady was with me, and played it again when she was in the car, and we were just kind of driving and listening to it, and I'm like, Nick sent me this. I'm like, I don't know if it's for me. She's like, yeah, it's all right, and that's big from her. You know, she says it's all right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like 100% up my alley. It's a good music. I'll give them that. I think the
Yeah.
what's it called? That type of music where there's some like slower parts where it's just kind of what's ethereal? Is that a word for it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Like
so.
kind of wispy.
Hmm.
Um yeah, like I can appreciate the music. It's just not something that I would like listen to on a daily. I'm trying to think of another band that's like that to give an example, but I can't really think of one.
Trying to think of what I sent you. I sent you Aviana, right? Like the
Yeah, Rage. I
Rage.
listened to the
Okay.
whole
Yeah.
album though.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commitment.
Well, kinda. I threw it.
Headphones.
Well, you gave me the link to Spotify in my car. The Tesla has the login or whatever, and it
Yep.
wasn't on Rando, so it just like I think it just played that album.
Okay.
And like I said, not bad music at all.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't know if it's like added to my list. You know,
I haven't listened to any of their other stuff. So I mean the song's a
it's
couple
not
years
bad.
old. I think it's 2022.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't bad. Definitely something
I
that
think
like I could play and just have on.
I think it was in our range, is why I sent it. Like I listened to it and I was like, man, that's well within like both of our ranges if we ever did vocals.
Yeah, I've gotten really rusty on the heavier stuff. Like I'll still like walk around the house and terrorize my family.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I can't hear myself when I'm doing it, so I don't know what it sounds like, but um yeah.
I will say after like getting my tongue tie removed, it's a little bit easier.
See, that's so after we talked about that, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I thought of because
Yeah.
uh I was saying that the she had brought it up to me like 2 days prior about the tongue tie thing. That's why I brought like when you brought it up, I was like, holy shit, how where'd this come from?
Life's a simulation.
Yeah. But she brought up the idea like, well, what if she could sing better? She's like, what if that's something that like I can't like move my tongue to hit that note or
Yeah.
whatever? And I was like, you know what? If there was ever an argument to be made to me, that'd probably be it.
Yeah. I
So
think a better vocal range, particularly like with screaming, where it's a lot of like rolling the tongue and like, you know, yeah.
I like what you did there. Yeah. But I like I can still do the lows and stuff. My mids are pretty bad. I would imagine by now. I haven't tried. And then I was never like great at highs. I could get by though. Like I could
Yeah.
hit a couple of lines and be fine, but when we would play in the past, I would usually have the mids and the lows and then uh my drummer or my guitarist would hit the high notes, which worked
Mm.
out because then you could have that overlapping, low and high.
Yeah.
But it, yeah, it made it a little
I was
difficult.
never good at like high cleans,
Mm-hmm.
but like the like the stepped on the tiger's tail like
Alisana.
kind of sound. Like, dude, I maybe that's what it is because it was just years of like singing Alesana.
Yeah.
So yeah, that scratchy, angry tiger
Rasp.
sound.
Yeah.
Like I was able to lock that down, and I think Alicia also helped with a lot of that.
And you could just fry your throat and
That's it.
get her done. You know what I mean?
Just a green monster and chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just get that nice coating. Our honey, we used to use
Honey sticks.
yeah, like honey. Yeah.
We had the
That's
little.
crazy.
Didn't you have the sticks that we were like chugging that
Yeah.
one day?
All
Yeah, we started buying or like we used some of those too. But I also was like a heavy smoker at the time, so
yeah,
some of
that
my
helps.
stuff, yeah, it did,
It's got to.
especially on like the mid-range cleans because I I don't know, I've always thought that maybe like when you can hear someone talk and you're like there's a good chance they have a deviated septum,
Yeah.
like there's just a voice. So
Mhm.
when I hear myself, I hear that. Like
Mm.
I feel like I sound nasally,
Yeah.
especially when I do cleans. Like if I'm singing clean, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
feel like someone's holding my nose shut, and I sound like
Yeah.
meh. So
I feel the same way. Honestly, like what do you like I've heard of people like drilling like if you ever consider cuz like
for more airflow or something.
yeah, I've thought about the same thing for like running and stuff like that too. Like, man, do people just have like a better time than me? Like when it comes to running because like they can breathe through their fucking nose.
Yeah. Well, I had to modify my breathing when I ran, like in
Yeah.
nose, out mouth, in
Yeah.
mouth, out mouth, in that order, over and over.
Yeah, yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I don't know if you ever been nasaled, like
Like
how
the
how
pharyngeal thing.
yeah, nasopharyngeal, like
Yeah.
how disturbed were you? Like some people
Yeah.
take it like a champ, and it's like for me, like neither one of my nostrils would
Yeah.
be accepting of it.
It's
And
impenetrable.
yeah, so
I felt relief after. Like I did. I felt like someone allowed me to breathe, like someone gauged my shit and I was like, "Man, what is this new world? You guys breathe like this?"
my gag reflex is like second to none, also. So that didn't work for
Uh
me.
Um, if you could make music, like if you jumped off here and like went straight into music production, what genre would you get behind?
Uh, Out in left field, but it would probably be um like modern acoustic cover band stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um I like the new kind of like live, like you listen to the people that are live that are just excellent singers. I like that. I don't know how to describe it, but there's just some like excellent voices out there that just hop on a mic and are like, okay, this song's called whatever. And then they just
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I mentioned Teddy Swims would be, one of them. He's a little more emotional music. Um, Trying to think. Casey Abrams. Have you ever listened to Casey Abrams?
Yeah.
Bro, just saying.
Give it
Probably
a
should.
give it a drop.
He's like a floor bass player, like jazz,
Hmm.
and it's insane what he can do live. He does cover of he's on Postmodern Jukebox on YouTube. Him and
Okay.
Haley Reinhardt or whatever her name is. They do a bunch of stuff on there, but I'm not kidding you. His rendition of Creep live in like this theater,
Yeah.
he just at one point he just stops holding the microphone, like literally just puts it down by his side and just starts singing loudly in this theater, and you can hear him clear as day, no problem, and people are just like losing their minds. He's so good.
That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, yeah, and he has that like raspy, almost recovering smoker's voice, but it just works for the music that he does. Big into jazz. So yeah, that's probably what I would get into. I have like the wishful thinking dream of like starting to play again and getting into a heavier band. Like I would like to do that. It's just starting to get like out of reach, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I'm really hoping like with AI and like other like opportunities moving forward, like with with internet and some of these like other programs like getting more efficient to like kind of feature people that you really don't have to have like a band,
Yeah.
you could just have like hey, I need you to play this one time,
Yeah. Yeah.
um
That's been more
and either
popular.
record it live or do it all digitally. But yeah, it'd be nice to do like solo content, huh? Not have to like depend on like, oh man, your kid's got this, like, oh, you're out of town, like something.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, um, when me and the lady met, like we used to set up a microphone just in front of it, like on a kitchen table, and we'd sit
Mhm,
around and talk and like drink and stuff. And we'd pop on headphones and sing. Like
mhm.
we just hung out and that's what we did. And it was like some of the best times. I always still try to talk her into doing it. The lady
Yeah,
can sing.
there you
Like,
go.
if I can't tell you anything, I wish this woman would just like sit down and record something. Like, she'll walk
Yeah,
around the house and stuff and sing. And it's just like, I just turn off all electronics and lay there and just listen
yeah,
to it. It's crazy.
that's nice.
But like I would aspire to be able to do that stuff, but I don't think I have it in me. Terrible stage fright. Anytime we'd play or anything, I just have to get lit to get a word out. Like if someone could hear me breathing on a microphone, I would be like, you know,
I wish my wife could sing. I'm j
She does other things, okay?
I, she listens, so I just figured
Yeah.
it'd be
I'm
funny
pretty
to
sure
harass
mine's
her.
sitting
She
outside
sings
of the
good.
door. When I brought up, I poured my heart out to that woman earlier. I got a message saying what? So
Who dat?
yeah.
That's funny.
At the beginning of this, she was literally sitting on the floor, just staring at me. I'm talking about my lady, not my dog.
Oh, okay.
They both do that though. One definitely
Well, I
puts
think
out
that
more, but I won't tell you which one.
I think one of them does the shuffle across the floor.
And that was a big topic
Uh,
on music. We kind of,
I think so.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't cover mine for the like for me, if I could get off and
Whoa,
go make music, if I could get off, if I could go make music, I think I wouldn't want to like limit myself to like one genre specifically. Like what I do like is like some of this like newer music where like yeah, the intro is an acoustic and then like it kind of fades into like a metal song and then like suddenly it's like kind of a techno pop, or um like drum and bass or something like that. And it's like this is completely out of the and that's like something you couldn't do if you had like a band of 4 or 5 people, right? It's like, hey man, just so you know, on song number 5, like there's not
Mambo
going to be
number
any.
5.
Yeah, there's not gonna be any fucking instruments. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Y-
I don't wanna hear shit from you guys.
You know who did like the electro music really good with hardcore? Maybe people
Mhm.
will disagree with this, but at the time I saw them live and I thought they were great. Enter Shikari.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were gonna say Icy Stars, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay," but yeah, Enter Shikari. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Their live
They were
was
another one.
great.
Yeah, their live stuff was, like, raw, good, and then, like, yeah, it came out years later, like, clean, and I'm like, "I don't know. It's just different."
Yeah, my daughter listens to Neon Tide,
Yeah.
like the Plankton AI cover.
Yeah, yeah.
She loves it, and it
It's
is
funny.
good. I mean, it's catchy. His voice, like
Yeah.
Plankton's voice from SpongeBob, is like
Yeah.
perfect for that type of music. I don't know
Yeah, I
why,
agree.
but yeah, gets down to it.
Well, do you wanna transition over to, like, talking about video games or,
Uh,
I honestly, I haven't played a whole lot of video games. Been playing Ninja Turtles and
yeah, I saw you
I
on
booted
yesterday.
up No Man's Sky actually. I was tinkering, and now that I've got, this giant PC, I'll turn the graphics all the way up instead of 1080p lowest settings.
Dude,
So,
when you get a monitor, your life's gonna
yeah,
change. Just telling
I
you.
did. This is a 27, and I was looking at that like 49, but I don't think I want like the wide. Like, if I do, I want it to be like proportionate.
Yeah, I mean, you can get. I don't know what my how wide mine is.
What's
30,
the
32.
Yeah, I like the 32. 32 looks like a nice medium.
Yeah, 32 OLED, and it's 2K.
Yeah.
Like,
OLED's where it's at.
yeah,
Is it 240 for those?
175.
75.
Yeah.
Yeah, that when I was shopping for this PC, like they had a 240, but it was 27-inch, and I was like, nah, man, not sold. So
Yeah. I mean, if you would have asked me 5, 10 years ago, I would have said to hold off on ultra wide just because there's
yeah,
so many games that you'd have to get like HUD fixes and all this stuff for.
yeah,
But pretty much now, everything is pretty supportive of it. And like mine's slightly curved. And any game that has a cockpit
yeah. Oh, I
or
like curved. Curved is where it's at.
yeah,
Like,
I mean
yeah,
it's next level. And actually my secondary monitor is an old 27 inch like traditional 2K monitor, like
Yeah.
2560 by 1080 or not, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And that's my secondary monitor, so I have two windows up on that, and
Mhm.
that's all I use. But getting a monitor will be huge. I've just been playing like I hopped into Call of Duty again. Like I said, not a.
On the Xbox.
I
I saw you're
did.
on the Xbox.
Yeah. Well, I tried playing it on the Xbox,
Yeah.
and it was a rude awakening on how terrible I am with a controller. I mean, I got
Yeah, me too.
smoked.
Like
Uh,
FPS with controller is just bad.
yeah, I couldn't do it. Uh, and then I started playing Selig again, which that's a one-off title that not a lot of people are gonna know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, another like family management RPG top down. But other than that, yeah, I haven't really been playing anything,
Is that scratching your MMO itch that you text me about?
dude. What was I watching? So like Elder Scrolls Online, I tried playing that like 3 times. I couldn't get into it.
It's not the
Um,
same as Skyrim. Yeah. If eh, I don't know how like they retain a player base at all, but I just assumed
yeah,
if I was gonna play that, I would just play Skyrim.
yeah. What's that new MMO? So what got me on it is I was watching Ashes of Creation.
Oh, okay. That's the new one?
Yeah, they did another open or not open, like closed beta.
Okay.
Um, but like it looked great to me, and I really wanted to play it. Like they said that like extended bags and stuff like that is pay to win in their opinion.
Hmm.
So that should
Yeah.
tell you something about how anti pay to win they are. If they think that bag extensions or inventory management extensions are bad, then that's crazy.
I I can get down with that.
No fast travel.
Oh.
But if you think about it, what's his face? The pirate software, pirate, whatever his name is, he was talking about, he's like, every time you go somewhere, it's like D&D. Like you get
Yeah.
your group together and you have to go do this mission, and on the way, stuff's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, there's something nice about it. But the world is going to be insane. They just had the open alpha or beta or whatever for like a couple
It's the one that's
days.
got the always on PvP though, right?
Yeah, open world PvP,
Yeah.
which they said, they understand that that might turn some people off, but I don't think I'm going to be upset about it.
I've watched a couple streamers play it. But of course streamers being what they are, like they just get murdered on repeat. But it sounds like they're adjusting it after that, after the most recent beta or alpha,
Yeah.
and they're gonna make like PvP like a little bit more punishing.
Yeah. Well, and they're funding it like up front. That's the thing is like it's $110 to get in the alpha for the weekend, and that's how they're funding production for it.
Spicy.
Yeah, but I get it if they stick to their word and that's all they're planning on doing,
Yeah.
then I'm cool with it. If it's not going to be, buy now, do this.
It looks
But
good. Like graphically, it doesn't look like a lot of these MMOs come out and look weird. Um, or they have to like cell shade it so that way it doesn't age terribly.
yeah. And I mean, you buy the alpha once and you get
Yeah.
access to all the alphas, and then you get, yeah.
Like what was that one that fell in its face? Like last year or this year, like Wayfinder, I think. MMO looked like Darksiders. It was like kind of a cell shaded
Ashfall
and
was a big one.
Ash, yeah, that sounds right too. And people just are sick and tired of the microtransaction stuff. Like it had like an alarming amount of returns.
Black
And it
Desert
was like,
Online.
man, BDO's still around though. Like it's still bad.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they've made some changes, but like yeah, it's still bad.
Like I played New World for a long time too, and they got Amazon Game Studio, man. They're the next on the list to just be
No.
microtransactions.
Wayfinder though, like they like pulled it back and they re-released the game with like peer-to-peer 3 player, and they made it to where all their previous microtransactions are earnable in the game, and they just kicked it out. Like,
Yeah.
here's a little RPG for you.
Well, and the problem is there's not a good monetizing factor for MMOs because you have to continue to make money.
Right,
Otherwise, the
sir.
MMO
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because once
Hey,
you get
what
to
up?
end game, there has to be new content all the time
Yeah.
for those end game players to do. And that's where they're jumping off. Is like Amazon. There's no end game stuff right now for their MMO because they just started up on another MMO. So now all
Well, I
these
mean,
people are like, what are we supposed to do?
I don't think in-game content has to like they don't have to update it or change it, because I've seen people like Nish play games for like 10 years. Like Diablo 2 has the same following that it's had, since the
Yeah.
beginning.
But Diablo, yeah, there's some replay value there though. But after you're in an MMO and you have to 10 different characters that are
Yeah.
all max level and you're done with the same PvP arena,
Hmm.
it's like, now what? You know what I mean? And
I'm glad you asked.
yeah, well, I mean, that's why World of Warcraft is still a thing, is
Yeah.
they have to continually bring stuff out. And I'm not saying subscription model is the best answer, but it's like the best answer right now. You know what I
I,
mean?
I I think that they're going about it like the wrong way. Like I still think, and maybe I'm like a morally high-roaded person, but I always think that like build it and they will come. Uh like reverting back to like Diablo 2, like it has an economy though. Like I could do one play, and don't get me wrong, I don't like seasons. Like if you made me like my huge con for Diablo 2, like I don't want to do a ladder. I don't want to start a new character. I'd rather just play a new character, right? Kind of feed off of each other. But I mean, I played enough seasons that it's whatever. But like the economy of like, okay, this time around, like I am gonna trade for this because I want to try to earn this item by the end of this season. And just knowing like, okay, I know that if I kill this boss X amount of times, eventually I can get this drop, and this drop is worth this in the economy scale.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
they introduced buy on account, and it just like it's
Buying
been
on account
wrecked.
is, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand both because you don't want to, there's some, like, WoW is kind of an example of buying on account. Is it's a double-edged sword because your economy can either crash or things just aren't important anymore. So like you can buy a bunch of mounts now
Yeah.
on WoW that aren't like rare anymore because they're on the market. Same with you can collect like armor pieces and items
Yeah.
for things that are outside of your class.
Yeah. I mean, Diablo
Just
3, when it originally launched, came with an in-game auction house that you could with like a real money auction house.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I would be
Blizzard's
cool.
not here to be our friend.
Yeah. Well, or whoever they are now.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, my thing is I'm cool with the subscription, but if I pay you a subscription that's over $10, I should get all of the content going forward until I'm
Yeah.
not paying that subscription anymore. Like you can make free to play
Yes.
and then you can make subscription, but the subscription gets you everything.
I think that's the issue with gaming firms, gaming companies, corporations, um, as it's no longer ran by gamers, right? And then suddenly it's ran by like marketing experts, like industrial baboons, and like just people that their sole intent is to milk something for every dime
Yeah.
possible. Like the Ubisoft, where they were talking about like pausing the game in the middle of the game for you and running an ad, um,
Dude, what
stuff like
planet? Was
that.
that real, by the way?
I I don't know if it was, but I mean that's an option though, right? It's their
I
game.
mean, if it was a
They could
company,
do that.
that'd be one
Yeah.
of them.
But I find problems with a lot of that stuff. Like WoW ruined their own economy though. Like they put WoW tokens like in the game. They chose to do that. And then I don't know, I'm not positive. Um so I'm not gonna say it with confidence, but like I'm pretty sure they put them in classic too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, an example of decent monetization is specifically old school RuneScape.
Yeah.
You pay your subscription, you can do your questing or whatever, you have access to everything. And they actually even added in where you can buy monthly subscription things like tokens with in game money.
Yeah.
So, like, it incentivizes people to play a lot.
I haven't played OSRS in years. Like, is there microtransactions in it now?
Maybe, but I haven't seen any. I mean,
That's good.
if you just have the new RuneScape, like RuneScape 3 or whatever it is, that does. And that's why they learned their lesson, because everybody broke off of that and went back to old
Yeah.
school. So it's only a matter of time before they complete that cycle again and bring it back to old school.
Oh,
But
I'm sure. Yeah.
that's my point. I mean, WoW has enough player base where they make enough money and could maintain and push new content on a schedule.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do skins specifically, maybe you could make that a microtransaction, but nothing outside of that needs to be microtransaction.
I I played Destiny. I mean, I'm not as much of a Destiny player as like some other people I know, but I think I'm sitting north of 1,000 hours in the game. Uh, and it was the FOMO for me, man.
Yeah,
Like 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 it hurts whenever you're playing a game, you feel accomplished, and then your season ends, and it's like you've been moved down on the pegboard. Um, and I will also say that like Destiny felt like the only game where I would like level up, right? Like I would get better gear, I would like progress, and like because it was the same enemies, same locations, same open world, and it would be like me and like a brand new booty, and like we were shooting and killing the same thing, but like it was honestly harder for me because
yeah,
of my level. It was like you have made me weaker. You have leveled me up by making me weaker.
yeah. That's that world auto level or whatever.
Yeah. Either way, like as an MMO, it kind of made me like appreciate like just playing more games. Like really not beating games obviously or finishing them, but
Yeah,
just trying different games.
I shut my office door and my server is like taken off now.
The temperature going up.
Must be. I
Yeah.
turned off the really loud one, the 1U server, the Blade.
Yeah.
This is my NAS going off.
Open the window.
Open the window and a breeze rolls in.
Yeah.
But I'd like to
But
play,
yeah,
man. I would like to play an MMO.
I could probably be talked into it. I can't imagine like longevity in one though.
Well, you know me. I won't be playing a game for more than like a month.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'd rather experience new games.
Need to start cooling it on the buying game. I actually have like slowed down considerably on my
Uh,
video game purchases. So
so your fiance just comes busting through the door like,
yeah, she's oddly
you
cool
you
with
lie.
whatever. Yeah. Well,
Really?
when we like, I handle all of the finances and stuff like that, and
Okay.
she's like, I trust that you. She does not know how to do that stuff or
Yeah.
how to not spend money. Which I'm not saying I'm much better, but I have a little bit more of a grip on it. But yeah, she anything I buy, she's like, "No, I think you should. If you can make it work in the budget and you think we're gonna be okay, get whatever." That's why I got the Tesla. You know.
Yeah. Um I used to be the budget manager in the house. And then I was hospitalized for like a short stint and she took over everything. And I gotta admit, like ignorance is bliss. Like she has it now where she gets like app notifications. Like I can't swipe the card without her knowing exactly w- when, where, and how much, which is fun. Like I
See,
I
that's
usually don't
me.
go out and like, but she knows if I've bought myself like a bougie coffee for the day.
Oh man, I'll get the statement and like every once in a while I'll ask her like, "Hey, how much did you spend this month?" She'll be like, "I don't know, maybe like $80." And I'm like, "Well, it was 400." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Bro, you get DoorDash like 3 times and we're filing for bankruptcy. So please stop."
Do you guys have a Costco out where you
No.
are? Yeah, I will say that I've never been a Costcoer, but we recently started and it's the best. Like it's so good, man.
Bro, we have a super Walmart. We got $2 Generals
Yeah.
and like 4 Casey's. That's
Ding
our
ding
whole
ding ding
town.
ding ding
Yeah.
ding.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I'm glad you've got that. Super Walmart's not bad though. Which is some mossy oak.
That's why we only have Super Walmart is because our city signed an agreement not to have any other retailers for like 15 years.
Jeez. Does your Walmart have guns?
They pretty much got rid of you can't buy handgun ammo there anymore. They have like a couple of
Wow.
shotguns and a couple of rifles, but I went in
Yeah.
there maybe like 2 years ago and I was like, "Hey, can I get some 9 mil?" And they're like,
Mm,
"No, you can't get that here." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like,
yeah.
"Yeah, we don't do any handgun things."
I don't remember ever buying pistol ammo from Walmart, but like 22 maybe.
I bought my first shotgun from Walmart.
Uh, I was in a Walmart this morning, uh, and they had like 4 rows of like assorted weapons, and I was like, "Jeez, we're back, baby."
I guess that's another thing is how into weaponry I am, I guess. I have a
Yeah,
lot I have a lot of guns.
yeah. You know that I've separated away from it. I mean, I had a pretty decent little um like AR pistol, but once I
I remember
sold it,
that.
I kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
You had the 300 black.
I had a 300 black, and then I had um, a 1911 um Springfield like Ranger,
Yeah, I remember
but
that 300 black that you had. And that was kind of during the time when 300 black was still pretty new and experimental.
Yeah,
Ammo prices have dropped significantly since then.
good because it was like $3 around at that time. I felt like I was just like
Yeah,
dollar bills.
yeah, got a lot of those.
Man, we really fell off of gaming into straight into the guns, but
Yeah.
that's fun.
Speaking of guns and politics and stuff, DEI, man, we talked about it last stream.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see the news on that?
Not the news. I mean, I saw like a couple of Reddit posts, but
Yeah. They're defunding it. I think the
whoa,
FCC was talking about something like that.
that's what's up.
We are in a
I
simulation, though.
I've always said that like I mean like Amazon doesn't have your best interests. So like I mean I get yeah the FCC is obviously way different, but like if it was profitable for Amazon to
Kill
you
people,
know
they would do
yeah
it.
to they would do it man. They would absolutely be like hey everyone owes us their left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the FCC chairman will end its promotion of DEI next year.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I mean, there's like a lot of bills in place. They said that it's destroying the FY25 like budget with all of the
Yeah.
stuff, and they're like, we can't really figure out what this money was going to or anything like that. But some of the big ones was like an example. There was a training put on at Clemson U, and it cost $27,000. And participants were instructed that valuing punctuality was culturally insensitive.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
Medical students need to learn to evaluate everything through the lens of race and identity rather than evaluating patients individually. I mean, it's it's crazy. DEI officials make more than $100,000. 84% make more than 100,000. 34% make more than 200,000,
Yeah.
and that's straight from National Association of Diversity Officers. Let's see. Top
Yeah.
earner. I'm trying to find one that's just close to us. Let's just do the Midwest. So top salary of diversity officials.
Mhm.
Um, Ohio, 215,000, and they have a second one, 131,000, which could pay
It's not bad.
for which could pay for 12 scholarships.
Yeah, I'll never understand like Sweet Baby Inc. Like what why do they have these companies that are so good, are supposedly so good at like moral values or gender identity and politics that like you have to bring a company in to assist your company at like hiring people. Like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it honestly that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I mean, I get that, like, yeah, there's always been like hiring firms and like HR reps and like, but like based on a moral compass, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, Texas, and North Dakota have mandatory DEI statements, or
North
prohibit
Dakota, oh, okay,
prohibit
I would say North Dakota
mandatory
would
DEI statements.
surprise me. Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I've told you before that I have relatively like liberal values whenever it comes to um like equality, but I don't think that DEI is the way. Like I don't it is forced. It is it rubs people the wrong way. It is, I mean, just the general idea that like one person could be hired over another person is it's just it's
based on the
frustrating.
scope of
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
So I
even our state introduced a bill to prohibit um, those inclusion offices and officers at public universities.
I don't know. I haven't put brain power towards it to think of like or propose a different way of doing it. So I still think that maybe DEI was the best that we've had so far for like inclusion, but I
Well,
obviously enough people disagree.
I think there's going to be legal liability because
Yeah.
the second that someone can prove that someone was hired or promoted or given a grant or
Mhm.
something like that, they were passed up for it because of someone else's race. I mean, that's going to
Yeah.
be Supreme Court or at least civil suits where it's like, hey, I have it documented that they had to choose this person because the interviewer said we had to choose this person, even though they disagreed or whatever. I mean, that's actual financial harm
I mean,
and
but if it
therefore
was
is
like
legal.
federal policy, then like
Yeah, but federal policy or state policy does not trump like
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish that there was other ways to, like both people could be happy, but I do
It's
have a
easy.
conflict with identity like politics.
Yeah. Well, the answer is easy and it's like what I said before. Everyone's on the same playing field and there's shitty people out there. The end.
I mean, every system's going to leave itself to like be taken advantage of, obviously. But I hate to say it, like identity politics is going to be, you know, the left's weakness for a while, and like eh, maybe they need to figure out like a different way for inclusion or something. But it there's like there's too many parallels to history where like focusing on like easy wins such as like identity politics just like kind of just trends you in the wrong direction.
Well, I wouldn't even say I would argue that it's not a win. It's deflection.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never been used to win an argument. If there is a winning an argument, it's just well, here's this.
But I think it's like a lot of people have like the general moral value of like, well, I don't really want to offend anyone. And like, I want everyone to get along. And so, like, I think, those social aspects, lend itself to, a socialist mindset, a socialist party. And everyone can agree that identity politics on surface level, like, sounds good. I don't want to offend anyone. I would love for reparations and, you know, everyone to be equal.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely differ on that. I think reparations are hilarious. I understand where you're coming from. Like everyone should be equal, but my thing is when we get into like systemic, which is a key phrase. I can't point to one systemic situation where someone is being left out because of any of those things aside
Eh,
from aside from gender fluidity. But I
yeah.
if I don't think that that exists, then I can't really think that that's an exception.
I I think that, like, for me, and I mean, I grew up, like, relatively privileged, so I really don't have, um, like, perspective on this, but, just growing up with, um in, like, different places, I lived in, like, California, like, North Dakota, like, and so I've met different people. Like, I have seen people that kinda get stuck. Like whenever I moved here, I moved to this is a small town in North, kind of like North Dakota, where I was at North Dakota, and like the people who are there have always been, their grandparents, their great grandparents, they were all in Minot, North Dakota, and it's almost the same for for small little pockets here in Nebraska. Um, but it's worse, right? Like you get North Omaha, and they have less opportunity, like to begin with. Like they have worse education, they have worse public transportation, and like those opportunities, like because they have worse education, and then like lower pay in that area, and like worse opportunities, then it lends itself to like almost like a thinking trap of and based on community, right? Like you want to be in your community and like where you grew up. But it also leads itself to a thinking trap of like my next meal. If you're in poverty, like a lot of your brain power goes towards your next meal.
So I guess why do you feel like they don't have the opportunity in North Omaha, for example?
Um, I mean, I think that's it. Like, I think the education, like the education opportunities in North Omaha, like, do not match like the rest of Omaha or some of like the metro areas for sure.
I mean, I guess would it be see this is where I'm at with it cuz I understand the statement. It's the context that like matters to me.
Yeah.
And like North Omaha specifically, the fact that it's even listed as a geographical location for Nebraska, North Omaha receives like some of the highest funding of all Nebraska. Like they got $125 million grant.
Mhm.
Um, they like taxes go to like they get like 10% of Nebraska's tax
Mhm.
incentives goes there because it's like 29 or it's like poverty stricken, like
Mhm.
1 in 3. Um, so and to zoom out on America, the same thing is true with a ton of inner cities that one might say have like less opportunity. I mean, they have more funding than anywhere. Chicago's bankrupt, and Chicago gets all of the funding from the state essentially for any type of infrastructure or public services or anything like that.
Right.
And they just sold all their parking meters to like the Emirates or like, some Middle Eastern nation, and they can't even make revenue from it anymore because they blew all their money. And crime's up, not down in those places. Education is getting worse. What is it, like 1 in 3 or 2 in 3 of people are coming out with like lower than a reading level of like a third grader? And I'd like to know, is it the lack of opportunity, or is it the staff that decides to work there with the crime rate, or the staff grew up there and they're staying there and they're not?
I I would ask that too though. Like I mean, you're not going to get someone from someone's it's going to be community. They're going to live. Someone's not going to travel across Omaha to go work at a school.
Well, and I think that also is where DEI breaks down, like where we were
Yeah.
talking earlier. If DEI worked in the reverse of anything, if you wanted teachers or you wanted any type of education staff or officers or anything like that to be in an area that don't match the description of that area, DEI would say that you hire someone who's outside perspective, but that's not going to happen. So it's like all of these legislations are just snowballing and worsening the situation. Like, let's say you have a good teacher from, uh, like Iowa, or you know what I mean, or something like that, and the likelihood of them being XYZ race is lower than it's going to be in Chicago. It's like, well, you're not going to hire that person now?
But if you do, they're going to cost more. And then like hence that's why those budgets are higher. Like you do have to bring in teachers from rural
Yeah.
or
But at
like
the
other
same
areas.
time that you have DEI legislation, it's like, isn't
Yeah.
one just like shooting themselves in the foot with the other
Yeah.
legislation?
Yeah,
And
I don't think it's a perfect system, that's for sure.
yeah, I don't know. I just, historically speaking, like all of these places that have grants and not only state funding, but like federal funding, we're just dumping money into these places. And I think it's historically accurate that the more you fund any town, I'm not saying Chicago, if any town that you lived in just started getting federal funding, federal grants, state funding, state grants, uh, incentive to be unemployed, incentive to public school systems to own everything about your children, you're going on a downward slope, and any legislation that you make is just going to either be contradictory or do
Yeah.
nothing, which either one of those are bad options. Uh, the
I'm
more funding that we've been giving, the shittier it's become.
I'm all about like privatized education and like returning power to the states and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I mean, because then if your state sucks, then especially in the Midwest, like you just move like one state over. Like
Yeah.
that's not that bad.
Well, and we're a union. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's the whole point. We states are sovereign. Um, I don't know. I haven't seen any good data to suggest that these incentives are doing anything but have negative repercussions on the situation. And that's apparent. I mean, if this stuff is going on and nothing beneficial is happening, I don't know. Maybe change up.
Do you think like people are inherently inclined to want to work with people of their same color?
Yeah.
Like community, like communalize. I think that that's how it works. I think that people do gravitate, uh, you know,
Yeah. Well, I
towards their
mean
own community.
and you can look at that either way. So that's the other thing where these these movements are contradictory because we talked last episode about entertainment and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Well, if
Mhm.
you're going to sit and say, uh, I need XYZ race for this character, then you're already showing that you have a proclivity to wanting to resonate with that character. Same goes
Mhm.
for cultural centers. It's like, well, white people can't be in cultural centers because we don't feel comfortable around them. We want to feel comfortable. All black dorms. We
Mhm.
want. We had a lived experience, and we know how to feel comfortable around each other. Okay, so that's proving that that exists on that side, and then to
Mhm.
say, okay, if you're not a part of that group and you have that same theory, you're a racist.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
be careful how you explain that, because you're explaining the same thing, but you're very quick to say one's racist and one's more comfortable or whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of training on implicit bias and all that stuff, and it's the same thing. You can train about implicit bias. The problem is you're already, it's an oxymoron to train something that's implicit. You know what I mean? Like, you can't train something that you don't know you're doing or is in the background, and it's not like a direct action you can take. Now you can practice and get better at it and stuff like that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say that it's a weird hill to die on, looking for that perfection, because it's unobtainable.
I think like implicit like bias it gives you like dynamic training though. Like that way you can look from like different perspectives like rather than your like it makes you more considerate of different perspectives.
Yeah, so I mean, I was mandated to take an implicit bias training, and they gave like the same scenario like 5 times, and
Yeah.
some people have probably taken this training, but it's like you see a man uh wearing a head wrap and a curled mustache. You recognize that he might be Sika or whatever, and you approach him to talk about whatever, and it's like, why did I need that backstory?
Mm.
Like, is that the fact that you are using that as an example is showing a bias because you just described somebody that you think someone with a bias would have a bias for. It seems counterintuitive to me. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, that's besides the point. If I have a job to do or something, or you have to have communication with someone, it's like, hey, you walk up to this guy and he says XYZ. How do you respond? That makes more sense to me to
Right.
train than you see a guy wearing a head wrap, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's
Hmm.
irrelevant. And I think that's irrelevant to most people. And the
It
fact that they're
it's like
trying to sell.
racism during yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're literally explaining racism in,
Yeah.
and it's weird because there's no right answer. That's the thing. Like, one of the answers, like, you realize that he might be this and you appreciate his religion. With that information, you decide to ask this question. And it's like, well, now you just judge this guy who looks like this and you assumed that he's this religion. And it's like, again, you just gave me another scenario where the training is giving me a bias that this person might practice this religion based on what they look like. And again, you didn't do anything for me there.
To like corral this back into gaming, just a little bit, there's that game Concord that came out that failed, like, just terribly, and it had, like, all the DEI stuff, like, surrounded it, and, like and not just that, like, representation across the board, and, bad marketing and other stuff as well, bad community managers, but I I think it's so funny when, like, you get those LGBT tags or you get, like, a game that's, like, you know, woke, and then they put, like, a lesbian in it, and she's, like, 300 pounds with, like, a terrible haircut, and, like, they just absolutely make it look like
You mean
a terrible
encompass?
person.
Encompass, the first thing that comes to mind?
Like, yeah,
Yeah, no, that's what it
why did they
is.
have to make it look like, I don't understand, like, like have worked with lesbian people, like,
Yeah, we
in our
both
career
have.
fields,
Yeah.
and they don't all look like that, you know?
No.
How they just absolutely, like, choose, like, the weirdest version or yeah, whatever, like, the stereotypical version is, like, why would they would pick that? It's completely counterintuitive to their cause, and, quite honestly, like, I've never seen, like, lesbian I have seen, like, lesbians that look like that, but I've never seen, like, lesbians in my workplace that look like
Well,
300 pounds with the flippy hair.
we're gonna have to create one so that you can resonate
For
with it.
diversity reasons, that's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
But in gaming, it's weird because it's created, like, someone had to make this from in their own image,
Yeah.
and their own idea. They
Well,
just,
it's
like,
like
Googled it.
everyone talking about the new Halo staff.
Oh, no. Don't even ruin Halo for me.
You haven't seen that?
No. Dude, did you watch any of the TV show? If you say it's good, I'm hanging up.
I
You
have
liked
not
it?
seen it.
Okay, good, thank God. Okay.
Was it Halo?
The new Halo chief of staff. Oh yeah, political driven agenda. Oh man,
The new chief of
red
staff
versus
describes their 10-year occupation only as keenly researching how to make things less white.
red versus blue and purple and green and orange. I'm sorry, that's funny, man. Oh,
Is that not wild?
that's I mean, yeah, like it's such a
Oh,
simple game too. There's like nothing to it.
LGBT flag is her
I
backdrop on LinkedIn.
yeah, I saw that. I I applaud Helldivers for just like not buying into it at all. Where like that community was like, you should make LGBT capes, and they're like, we don't make capes for anyone else. Like,
Yeah.
why would we do?
And they want to stick to the lore.
Uh, like,
Like it's literally, yeah, I don't know.
what does that have to do with killing bugs?
Yeah.
What does that got to do with euthanasia?
Yeah. What is up with all the euthanasia? Yeah, man. I don't know. I think that's something we can peel back the layers of the onion on for
Yeah,
hours, but um I don't know. I think you can have good intentions and stuff. And I do think that some of these are founded with good intentions, but
I think
there
so.
is a lot of it that's started from conception on money, identity politics, and sending a message, and I'm not for it.
Yeah. Well, there's like a lot of bad things that have happened in history, like based on good intentions, with like just bad execution. Right? Like,
Or great
yeah,
executing. No.
a lot of execution.
Yeah. I mean, that's how a lot of these things end up. It's like Kamala's Fortnite map with no guns.
I forgot about that, honestly.
Yeah.
Uh oh, actually,
Do you see how
oh
low it
man.
was on the board too? I don't play Fortnite, but
Uh,
I saw it was like 6 from the bottom map to play,
yeah.
and there no guns.
I heard the funniest one-liner about that. Like a guy was like, "So there's no guns. What do? You just like go into the city, loot and steal shit?" It's like,
I mean, you don't
oh,
need guns to commit crime anymore, that's for sure.
yeah. Yeah. Just
God.
let him walk in. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I can't believe some of the stuff that they're doing. And the fact that like money was spent on that.
Dude, do you think inauguration's gonna get a little spicy?
No.
Hmm.
I don't think it will. Um
I think I think
well,
that there's gonna be like when the weather gets nice again, I think that like cities will have issues, like downtown.
oh yeah. So I'll say this. Issues are going to be everywhere on the news that things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's inevitable. Like there's going to be terrible things happening and this person and whatever, but I don't think that anything's going to be that spicy. I
I
think they're going to
anticipate like a lot of protests.
yeah, but they're going to make it look spicy
Yeah.
when there's probably nothing crazy going on. Did you see that video of like Secret Service walking by Trump at one of the get-togethers, and someone like throws something out in front of him, and the guy kicks it away?
No.
Uh, yeah, there's a video out there. I don't know how recent it is, but Trump's just like waving, not paying attention, walking off the stage, and like something gets thrown on the ground, and the Secret Service dude like runs up and kicks it, and Trump doesn't even notice.
Jeez.
But I think that there is a high probability that we'll have additional like attempts at life.
Oh, yeah. I've been wondering that too. But I like DEI and some of these other things, like surface level. I'm sure that's like the quick answer for some people. But what they don't realize is like you will absolutely make a martyr out of that man. Like I think we've both agreed that like Trump isn't the best at anything, other than like putting out some great content. But but yeah, they'll make a martyr out of him. People, they'll come in droves.
Yeah, yeah. I think people that don't think through things and aren't careful with what they decide to do, you make your bed. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that there's always, we think that this is new or different or whatever, but this has been happening since the dawn of man. Like whether it's media or in-person slander, like
Mhm.
this is just the way of the world, and it's going to continue being like that. And you can add technology to the mix, but it doesn't change anything. Just the scope of how many people you can reach. That's about it.
Yeah, that's sway.
Which I think in the long run helps. Um, I don't know. There's obviously growing pains, but like the more transparency there is, the more bad ideas can be shot down by the populace, and
Yeah,
it's a necessity, like
I
a
I
painful
think so.
necessity.
I think that it's important for all of us to like bounce our social values off of each other.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason that your right to free speech is
Yeah.
inalienable. Like it's the most important foundation of this country, because those ideas have to be shared, or there's not going to be a discussion. And if there's no discussion, then we fall out of the ability to self-regulate. Hence why the Second Amendment is right below it. It's because you have to have a way to protect that first one, you know?
From the government.
I mean, specifically in this era, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Uh,
People forget what it's for.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm all about less control in my workplace, less control, you know,
Yeah.
like there's too many CEOs, CFOs,
Well,
like
and
trim the
again,
fat from the top. And like that starts with the government.
yeah. And again, it's another prime example that when the federal government gets into funding, they don't do things well. It's ran inefficiently. It
Yeah.
fails. Um, I mean, there's not an instance that I can think of where government funds went to something and it got better, aside from like the CCC when we were trying to recover from. See, when was that? Roosevelt era. Yeah, the 30s. Yeah, allowed single men between the ages of 18 and 25 to enlist in work programs to improve America's public lands, forests, and parks. And that helped during the Great Depression, or the recovery thereof.
Yep.
But like that was a big one. 1933 to 1942, and it disbanded due to World War II. But I mean, it was a big deal. That's how we got a lot of our roads, railroads, national parks, all that stuff. Is it actually went towards something? Like that's federal funding that made sense. We're in the Great Depression. You have to have money given to the working class, otherwise there's no circulation. Um, and it worked.
Remember that time they thought that everyone should like turn in their old junker cars. Yeah, I'm sorry. I knew eventually I would segue for cash for clunkers. We're lucky I waited, a whole episode or 2 episodes here. But like cash for clunkers just drives me fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like I can go on for days about it, like ruining the neighborhood and like who it was good for and who it was bad for. Like,
Yeah. Here. This is directly from Edmunds. Cash for clunkers cost the U.S. taxpayer $24,000 per vehicle.
yeah.
690,000 vehicles were sold, and that only 125,000 vehicle sales were incremental. So they concluded that without cash for clunkers, auto sales would have been better.
Yeah, the whole idea of like bailing out the like big automotive, but it's not about that. Like it's about like me people like me and you who like when we were first, you get your first car, you get, second, third car, like can all be at one point $500 cars. Maybe they needed a battery replaced, or maybe is some minor like a water pump,
Yeah.
back when you could still work on these cars.
Well, and that's the thing that people don't understand is when you have a built product already, there's
Mhm.
almost never a case where it's going to make more sense to destroy that product
Mhm.
and get a new one. Like
Yeah,
the return is not there. Like here's just some examples. I know now I'm on Cast for Clunkers here, but
yeah, yeah.
here's some of the things. Created an estimated 3,600 to 40,000 jobs, but Brookings Institution found that the cost per job created was higher than other fiscal stimulus policies.
Yeah.
Grew the GDP from 3.8 to 6.8 billion, which was negligible. Didn't do anything. Uh, Intended to reduce emissions, greenhouse gases. Study found that the program was only reduced emissions by 9 to 28.4 million tons, which is a cost per ton of $91 to $288. That's crazy expensive.
Mm.
And then it reduced total vehicle spending by 5 billion. I mean, it hurt.
Yeah.
There's an example in capitalism, okay, or anything. When a company is not doing well, they fail.
Yes.
Yes, as it should. And then new companies are formed. If you have to go through a growth period where auto sales are low, what does that do? It creates
Right.
demand, and then more people get into the auto industry, and it helps. Okay. When you take that load off as the federal government thinking that you're helping the auto industry, there's a prime example. It actually hurt the auto industry more, and we continued to bleed out billions of dollars to pull these people out of
Right.
bankruptcy, and it did nothing. I mean, it cost the
But
American $25,000
like
per car.
like but with the best intentions. Like here's the federal government, like who has like laborist unions, and they think they're helping people by, you know, maintaining the auto industry, which employs shit tons of people, but instead they're hurting the same people because a lot of those auto industry people have cheap fucking cars, right? Like the salesmen probably don't drive the best sports car like that dealership sells. Like the mechanic definitely doesn't. Uh they just want to tinker on their, 1998 Toyota Tercel and like get to work every day. Something that maybe was a little less safe than today's standards, but, got like 40 miles of the gallon somehow.
Yeah. I mean, that there's a top 10 list of things that have failed. Like Natural Resources Conservation Service, 1935, right? 12,000 person agency, 2,500 field offices, Cost the
Yeah.
taxpayers 800 million a year, and there's zero difference in soil erosion that participated
Yeah.
in the program.
Are those the dudes that threw the tires in the ocean too? Like for because of like erosion or something like that?
It wouldn't
Or
surprise
was
me.
that like environmental? I think it was EPA or something. They thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, the REA 1935 helped bring electricity to rural areas. Went into telephone service. Uh, 5 year savings, 1.8 billion. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just stuff that doesn't make sense.
And then they handed everything off to AT&T or something.
I mean, they probably subcontract and make money on it
What do you
that
think
we
about the
don't see.
federal government breaking up monopolies?
Again, I understand the idea, but here's the deal. And you see people all the time that are like, don't shop here, right? Like, if a company does something wrong, they're like, let's not give them our business. Here's the
Yeah.
deal. Those people don't do that.
Hmm.
Look at Apple. I mean, Apple
Yeah.
could eventually become like a world monopoly,
Hmm.
and you don't see all of these people screaming "Eat the rich" and all that stuff walking around with OnePlus.
Yeah.
It's like it's the sheep, you know, convenience over morality, and that's the ironic thing is the people that complain the most about this morality are the most likely to take the path of convenience.
Or the path of like having Nikes and an Apple, which are both like born out of damn near slave labor.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing, like you could even go into looting. Okay, so
Mm.
you loot from Nike or Lululemon or whatever these big names, Gucci, whatever. You loot from these places. What you don't understand is you just destroyed the insurance rates for that area. Uh, the company. So, like, if you have a pair of Nike shoes on the shelf, right?
Yeah.
If that item doesn't sell, it just depreciates and they can't do anything with it, and there's overflow and they're forced to reduce the price to get rid of it. Okay. If you loot it, Nike automatically gets 100% of the value on that sticker from their insurance company, and
Yeah.
then they just get another pair to send somewhere else, when all you did was just increase the insurance rates for that place where you looted, and everybody that lives around there now has to increase their insurance rates because they're in a high crime area. You did nothing for anyone, and you just cleared inventory. The biggest thing with retail is you need to clear inventory. And if you're going to clear it
Right.
for them, I mean, you could make a business doing that. And it wouldn't be
And
insurance fraud. You could just make a building and put high value things in it and hope it gets looted.
yeah.
You'll
I mean, I
eventually get dropped by your insurance.
I'm sure Nike, I mean, they definitely know it. I mean, there's no reason that like any of those shoes should be that much. And so like they definitely go out of their way to like Jordans. Like we're gonna
Look at their
make
target
those
audience, man.
a couple $100. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Oh, dangerous stuff. We are over
We're at
time.
3 hours. Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or 7:30.
Yeah, we're about
I'm sorry.
2.5 hours. So I
Yeah.
say we call it for this one. Do
All
you want to
right.
do your closing?
Let's do a closing. 30 days of letting go. Today we're gonna let go of excuses. So I think we both uh you know, particularly me. You were headstrong into this initially, but I had a whirlwind of excuses and if a couple or I guess yeah, last week plus a couple days, I was just like, man, why am I making excuses for this? Like we can just like jump into it and now we're already done with episode 2.
I was
What about
supposed to go
you?
to the gym tonight,
Oh,
and I
skip the
came up with
gym.
an excuses. So
That's 2 years in a row now.
more like 7. Yeah, but you know, no, I've got someone to hold me accountable now. We got a
There you
guy
go.
calling, and he's like, "Are we going tonight?" which that's what I need. So
Yeah. I like to
no
do it in the morning
excuses.
so that way if I take or in the morning or midday, so that way if I do any like caffeine or anything, it's I'm not doing it at night.
Yeah. I do have to be in your neck of the woods tomorrow
Fair.
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there from 8 to 5.
I'll be
Uh,
in
the
the
other
Western
spot.
City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So,
Well, if you swing by that little town, I'll be there.
yeah. All right.
Whenever
Episode 2
you call me.
on the books. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.